Aloha and welcome to the Embodied Healing Self podcast with your host, Jen Mons. Each week, join me for soul-inspired, conscious conversations around embodied healing and awakening to your soul's purpose. Thank you for listening in. Aloha and welcome. I'm Jen Mons, your host for the Embodied Healing Self podcast. I'm an intuitive life coach, holistic health coach, yoga and meditation teacher, writer, speaker, and most importantly, loving mother of two beautiful daughters and loving wife. I'm also a foodie, an adventurist, a traveler, a surfer and windsurfer, a dancer, and loving of all things in nature, adventure, and fun. I'm so excited that you're here joining me today and listening in on the launch of my new podcast, The Embodied Healing Self. Some of you may know that I set out to launch a podcast back in 2016, and it just wasn't the right time. And so what I learned from this experience was to trust in the divine timing of the experiences of our life. Because what unfolded for me since then were the connections to some of the amazing guest speakers that I have to share with you on this podcast, plus transformational life experiences that I will be sharing with you throughout this podcast. So the Embodied Healing Podcast is a platform to connect and share and inspire with you the many pathways to an embodied healing self, which include our relationships and connections with ourself and others, our physical body with nutrition and healing, energy healing, and physical movement. It includes our mind, our body, and our spirit, our connection to grace and source energy. So I came up with the idea of this podcast because I believe that as spiritual beings, we have some self-responsibility to embody and nourish ourselves on every level so that we can live in our greatest truth, our soul's expression as our true self. And I like to call that your soul signature. Thank you for joining. And just to tell you a little bit about myself, this is a podcast where I welcome you and I'm going to share with you who I am and my life experiences so that you can have some insight on where some of these stories are going to come from. So I was the type of child who grew up loving life, had a wonderful childhood, an overachiever, and as I left for college, I chose to attend one of the 5 federal service academies called the Merchant Marine Academy. As an ocean lover, part of my time during this experience was to be on the ocean and to be on ships, and it sounded wonderful. And for the most part, it was. However, it came with its challenges, being in a small percentage of only 7% females at this academy. When I graduated with 2 degrees in engineering and nautical science, and also some licenses, Coast Guard licenses, to captain and engineer on a ship, and also a Navy reservist. And so that led me down a path to working corporate as a professional engineer for about 8 years. At the age of 26, I married my soulmate, wonderful husband, who I also shared this college experience with. And at the age of 28, we decided to start a family. Now, when this happened, I, of course, assumed that things were going to just come easily and that I would just continue working and doing really well in my job and just have a baby. Well, that's not exactly how it unfolded for me. So my beautiful, brilliant daughter decided to come 2 months early, and I had pregnancy-induced liver and kidney failure. It's called HELLP syndrome, and it is life-threatening for both the mother and the baby. So this experience changed my life, completely changed my life. It changed my life so much that I had a moment where I was in such deep pain in critical care that I was asking myself, do I really want to stay? And in that moment, I knew and I realized that there was more to experience in life than the depth of my own pain. And I went down, and this is the day after my daughter was born. I looked into her eyes. Hadn't had a chance to hold her yet because I was in critical care, but the moment she looked at me, I knew I was here to stay and I had work to do. So this was really the beginning of a rebirth for me, where things started to change, and I started to just look at my life differently. I was going to change my career path. Because of this life-threatening experience, both my daughter and I experienced extreme health challenges for years. We literally had a very challenging quality of life because everything revolved around just trying to be healthy and well. And what happened for us is that traditional medicine just wasn't working for us. There were no answers that made any sense. And we just felt helpless. And so a leap of faith took me down a path of holistic wellness. So after 3 years of living in complete survival mode, I took that leap of faith and I decided to trust in something greater. After 6 weeks, we started to heal. I began to learn and understand the power of nutritional healing, energy healing, homeopathy, acupuncture, energy medicine, and all these different modalities of healing that I had just never been exposed to before. So I decided to go back to school, to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, to become a holistic health coach because I wanted to share this with other people. I really wanted people to know that they did not have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. I believed everything was possible. I believe that people can heal. No matter what your circumstances are, no matter what your genetic predisposition is, I believe that our bodies can heal. And then, about 5 years into health coaching, when things were going really well in my business, I experienced a second health crisis. Now, this health crisis was really there to teach me that I knew there was something missing in my life. In fact, I would even say it to my husband. I would say, like, God, everything feels so great. I feel so healthy and energized, but I feel like I'm missing that connection to spirit. Now, I had always been someone who knew of a divine source. I knew of God, and I was raised through a Catholic religion when I was younger, and knew that this was a part of my being. And so I decided in this moment in time to reduce the stress in my life. I realized that health was not just about healthy eating, although food is medicinal and it can heal, but that we also have to heal our heart space, our mindset, reduce stress, and our connection to our soul, which is who we are here to be. And so I became a yoga teacher and a meditation teacher. I did a homeschool travel year with my girls. I became more into finding the joy in life through the surf and the windsurf and the dancing that I love to do and experience with my family. And I started to quickly got my health back. And so I learned over the years that integrating the life and health coaching together is where the change begins. And I've learned a lot of things on my way. I've learned and experienced many different modalities and pathways to holistic healing the physical body, the energetic body, the emotional body, the heart space, the mindset, and even our soul's contract that we agree to when we come into this earth. Now, some of you may or may not agree with some of the things that I share, and that's okay. This is a platform for conscious conversations based on my experiences and my beliefs. And I will be sharing with you the synchronicities in my life that has shown up, that have given me validation for the experiences that I have had. And this includes super consciousness healing, energy healing, all kinds of things that maybe you haven't heard of before. I'm super excited to share this with you. And thank you for joining me. I'm so deeply honored that you've chosen to listen in today. And I look forward to sharing these conscious conversations with you on pathways to healing your life, your embodied healing self, where I believe that the healing self is within you. All you have to do is access it. With love, gratitude, and aloha, I'm Jen Mons. Thanks for joining. Hello, friends, and thank you so much for joining me today and being a part of this community. I know there are many other podcasts that you could be tuning into, and I am deeply honored that you chose to listen in and be present with me today. I love and cherish and appreciate you, and I want to invite you to join our tribe and Facebook group under jenmons.com/connect. I would also love to gift you your guide to discovering and overcoming the self-limiting beliefs standing in the way of you living in optimal health, more energy, fulfillment, and self-confidence to create an embodied, healthy, whole you. You can find this at jenmons.com/tribe. I also have one small request to help spread the love. In order for this podcast to show up in the feed of social media platforms of other like-minded people, we need reviews. So please head on over to jenmons.com/podcast to leave a review. You will also find other inspiring episodes on that page. So I personally read these reviews weekly and would love to give you a shout out and share your kind words with our listeners. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook as Jen Mons or the Wholistic Coach with the W Wholistic and Jen Mons, JenMons.com. Thank you so much and have an amazing day. Aloha.